The LA Browns. Yes, they were in LA all week. Cleveland, though, is their home, as we all know. Going up against, funny enough, for people who don't know their NFL history, the Rams originated in Cleveland. So this is actually a team that moved out of Cleveland because Paul Brown created the Browns, and here we are. So it's kind of a unique tie to the city. Tony there, and Andy here. No one cares about that probably. I think it's always unique history. Playing a former club that was in Cleveland back in the 40s. All right, Tony. The whole discussion, Flacco this, Flacco that, what to do, excited. I've never seen extreme opinions about someone who's just playing off the street. So I'll ask you, actually. I'll let you lead it off. Thoughts on Flacco starting?
It's a calming sense because he's played a lot of football. I think he'll be fine. I think you can think of like when Jacoby was playing, not Jacoby when he was at his highest last year, but not when he was at his lowest either. Kind of that middle ground Jacoby is my expectations for Flacco, and I think he can handle that. He's not going to win us the game, but I'm thinking he will make enough plays where we can win if everyone else plays well.
I can't read the situation, meaning I don't have a vibe. I'm not expecting terrible. I'm not expecting great. I think it's going to be somewhere in between. I think it's going to be okay, kind of what Tony's mentioning. I think he's going to do some things, though, that are very different. And that's what makes this game very – I am having a hard time reading this game because of this. All year, it's been mobile-type quarterbacks. Even Walker, who doesn't run as much as Watson or DTR might, was still mobile. Boy, this is the opposite. This is statue in the pocket, going to sit there and pass. That makes it interesting to see how the offensive line will do in this game. It's finally going to put some real pressure on the tackles. I think that's going to be interesting to watch. And again, we haven't seen this all year. So it's a big adjustment in that sense. Tony, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it definitely is because the good news is Flacco probably has the best pocket navigation skills of any of
Yep.
those quarterbacks we've seen because he's never been mobile, even back when he was young,
Right.
and he's played a lot of football. So hopefully he can kind of take some of that stress off, but it's still harder because even if he knows where he's got to go, he's still got to get there. And he's 38 years old, past the best days of his career. So it's going to be harder to protect the quarterback. They're going to really be asked to do more. The good news is, for the tackles at least, is that this is not a pass rushing group that really does well. Aaron Donald will dominate. You
Yeah.
have to take him away. The rest of the names on that list, they don't really get pressure on the quarterback ever. So it's a good first game if we're going to have to see Flacco for more than one. This is a good training wheels kind of game where you can get a feel for how you're going to be able to have to block for a different kind of statue, like you said, in the pocket.
The Rams are a good average team. That's it. They don't jump off the page outside of Darnold. Donald's wonderful. He's one of the best players in the game, instant
Yep.
Hall of Famer. So I didn't say anything more. That does help in this game. The reason why I'm having a hard time reading it, though, it's very similar offense. Stafford is not mobile. He does move a little bit, but he's not Russell Wilson. Certainly never going to be Lamar Jackson. So that gives some hope. But I looked at the stats. The Rams are almost neck and neck with the Broncos. They're a good running team. Browns are going to have to find a way. That's why this game I'm tripped up because if they didn't have that, I'd probably take the Browns solidly, liking them a lot. Tony, that trips me up. I'm worried about the Rams running game. I am. I'm worried
Yeah.
about it in this game.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of odd to see because in the Matt Stafford, Sean McVay era, we've never seen the Rams be a run first team.
Right.
They're doing it and they're doing it well this year. They rank like bottom 10 in pass rate. They're
Yep.
running the ball a lot and they're top 10 in all the efficiency stats when they run the ball. So they're doing it a lot. They're doing it well. They just got their starting running back, Kyron Williams, back last week. He had a really good game. So that's going to be, I mean, basically once Deshaun went down, the keys for every week were going to be the same, and it's going to continue to be stop the run and run the ball and win the turnover margin. But it really is, as cliche as it sounds, they have to stop the run or they won't have a chance to win.
Yeah, there's going to be some relief. These future teams we play don't have these kind of running games that we're seeing right now. But boy, we're seeing it this week. Tony hit all the points I saw too. Rams can run. Rams can really run. Stafford does not blow me away, but he's a good quarterback. So that's an interesting thing here too. The only other thing that I really thought about here, Tony, is the Browns for the first time in a long time, I don't think can take any more injuries. I am thankful that Garrett's back because they really need him back. And I'm finally there as a fan. I don't know if they can take – like Amari Cooper going out would be a big blow. If they do lose Myles Garrett, I don't know if it's recoverable. I actually think for the first time you can't keep losing elite players. So in this game, you always want to win. But I will actually put this as an asterisk. They got to stay healthy. They need to start coming out of games healthy now. It's actually really important.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you look, if there's any other team that had to go through what the Browns have gone through this year, they wouldn't be over water right now. I mean,
Yeah,
the Jets lost just Aaron Rodgers in week 1, and the
imploded.
tires have fallen off completely.
Yeah.
We're going to see how the Bengals season's going to end, really just losing their quarterback. The Browns have lost their all-pro running back, all-pro right tackle, and star quarterback, and that's just if you talk about the guys done for the year. That doesn't mention the multi-week Denzel Ward absence, the multi-week Jed Wills absence, the Thornhill. Like there, if you just talk about those season-ending injuries, I mean, could the Eagles overcome a Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Jason Kelsey injuries? No chance. There's no chance they could have. So they really can't afford any more injuries. I'm surprised they've been able to overcome what they've overcome to this point.
It's very fair. Now to the positives. I do see some positives. I like the fact the Browns were in LA all week, actually, because they needed to come together. That was a sloppy, clunker, mental. We can use all the phrases you want. The Broncos game was just bad. It's the first time all year I was kind of like, it didn't get much hope. So sticking together would be a good thing. I'm going to implore this. I don't care if there's 8 men in the box. Run the ball, Browns. Please run the ball. Allow your running game to get going. I would put extra linemen in there. Do old school stuff. Don't care. Just make sure you run the ball, even if it means punting at times. I think it's very important. And finally, Tony, they cannot allow, again, my biggest fear, do not allow the Rams to run. Keep them passing. Yeah. It's weird with McVay. You said it. You're right. I'm on trumpet. It's very weird. That's what I see in this game. I don't think it's too complicated, this one. I think it's pretty basic on how it's going to go.
Yeah, you got to stop the run. The pass game, they can still beat us there. They've got Cooper Kupp, who's been dealing with injuries. Puka Nacua has been really good. But you got to stop the run. We need the corners to step up. Emerson, Newsome needs a bounce back game.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe we can chalk that muddy game in Denver up to just the high altitudes. We can chalk it up to that. Maybe that contributed to some of the lackluster efforts and execution, but maybe playing in the dome in Los Angeles will help that energy standpoint. But yeah, just the simple things. They got to establish some sort of a run game. And the biggest thing I'm watching is Elijah Moore, because his numbers with Joe Flacco last year were some of the best numbers he put up over any stretch of his career. So it kind of fits in. Flacco's going to get the ball out quick to those short routes. Maybe look to Elijah Moore a lot. Maybe he can provide more of a spark to the pass game, but simple keys as always. Stop the run and run the ball.
Yeah, we should throw in there. Tillman looked good. Yep. Tillman had a good week. Need a bounce back game from Njoku. Yeah. Njoku, boy, doesn't really struggle. Boy, he struggled. He had a really poor. He looked lost at times. Just really looked like he had a hard time grasping the game. Hopefully, Amari Cooper's healthy, and that's a good point about Elijah Moore. Hopefully, he finds it this week. Overall, though, here's my last thought on this game. The Browns win this game. I can do the scheduled game with 5 games left and easily figure out how they get to 11. If they lose, which might happen, the Jacksonville game becomes very important. That's why it's a weirdly important game, even though it's an NFC game. Win this game, you get to 8. I can figure out how you get to 11. If they lose, I think you gotta win against Jacksonville.
Yeah, with Cincy and Chicago and New York, all left. You can probably figure out those 4 wins, but then you have no wiggle room. And as we saw last week, even when you think you should win, you need a little bit of wiggle room. And every win we can get is just going to give us more room when things go wrong, because things are going to continue to go wrong for everybody. That's how the NFL works.
Very fair. They're out of mulligans if they lose, is my point.
Yeah.
There's no more mulligans because the Jacksonville-Houston games are tough. And you got to figure you're going to lose 1. And then Tony went through the rest. Bears, Jets, and Bengals. Browns will be favorites.
Winnable, but you never know. Anything could happen.
That's the point. No more mulligans. Check out Tony and I at 9 a.m. We'll make our predictions there. You can also go to BelieveInLand.com. You can see what I predict now. Go to Tony's work on BelieveInLand.com for the film review of the Broncos game and everything else, Browns, Cavs, and Guardians.